Hi, I'm Brian Larsen. Sometimes in London, sometimes in Denmark, and sometimes in some of all the other places where we are live today. I'm going to talk shortly about financial inclusion. Financial inclusion really is about the fact that most of the people on the planet today are not having any bank accounts, okay? They are not having any financial, let's say, capabilities. And if you ask traditional bankers, they, especially in this part of the world, they will say, well, listen, these guys can max bank $1 to $2 a day. That's even less than it's probably going to cost us to have them as clients on the platform. So they are not interested. So that's what we decided to sort of look at. And basically, we want to financially include everybody in the world. And there is sort of an element here, you know, I'm sort of an old Donald Duck fan, to sort of Scrooge, want to take over the world kind of thing. So I want to change the world here. So this is actually built to change the world, but there are two very important things that you need to be aware of. One, we only believe that this is possible if you have a business model built into it, where there is a revenue opportunity for every sort of element of the whole workflow or channel that is involved in including this person. So that is one part that's very important. And the other part is that you have to want to, let's say, take the long step here. Financial inclusion is not something that happens overnight. Financial inclusion is something that will take the next 10 to 15 years. But if we achieve it, you will have great, let's say, business opportunities also in emerging markets. You will have a more free flow of capital between all these markets, and you will have lowered the living cost of the poorest people on the planet, which will benefit us all. So one of the things I just wanted to talk about, because we're talking about sort of the future of banking here. I'm one of the believers, and I've been in this business for quite a long time, that I don't think the banks as we see them today will disappear. I think their role will change dramatically, and I think it will happen a lot faster than most banks are expecting, and probably not everybody will survive that. Now, we think that the banks are great at a certain sort of number of things. They're great at operating or handling cash. They are absolutely great at staying compliant, at least most of them are. There's been a little bit sort of happening in the media lately, but they are probably better than most startups at least. And they already have a great, let's say, dialogue with the FCAs of the world. So for us, we decided that, okay, let's not look at even disrupting that, because that is a huge project. Let's work on top of that, and let's basically have what we call a program manager interface. So that leads to the second thing that we decided. Once we said we wanted to be bank-led, we decided to have every user being issued a Visa or a MasterCard. So whenever a user signs up, and by the way, that takes 30 seconds, you will get a Visa or a MasterCard, and it will be issued directly to your mobile phone. And this literally takes 30 seconds, and we haven't got time for demo here, but we can try it later if anybody is interested. Once you have opened up an account, you've used your mobile number, your name and your email, well, that's it. You're live, you're banked. So now, of course, the first thing you want to do is either put in some money, you walk into a bank, deposit some cash, you visit an agent, depending on where you are in the market, or, most importantly, if you're sitting in Africa, you request money from your friends and family abroad, and they will then just obviously be registered automatically, but also have the opportunities to fund that account in this part of the world. That way they can fulfill that payment, and we are now talking about doing global remittance, which is what we basically did right now in the example I did, for practically zero cost, okay? So am I here, to sort of save the world and not earn a penny on it? Absolutely not. We're trying to give these people a bank-like experience. So all these services you see here, well, we earn a little fee on some of them. Selling airtime, facilitating bill payment, and so forth. And that is actually how we sort of make our money. So, we've been at this for quite a while. We implemented a top-down model. What that means is that a lot of the people looking at financial inclusion, I know Gates Foundation was here earlier, they look very much at a sort of bottom-up approach, where you build an infrastructure, you build an agent network, and based on that, you then start sort of financially including everybody. That is a very, let's say, financial heavy model. It demands huge investments, and the ROI on that is, 10 years ahead. What we decided to do is do top down. My chairman hates this because, I'm Danish, okay? So maybe this doesn't come out right in English, but we say we follow the money. And what we mean by that is that if we follow the money drizzling down through, let's say, the pyramid, it will eventually also hit sort of the poorest people in the pyramid. But we can make a little money on the way. So right now we have 1 million registered users. We have so far invested 10 million pounds in this. We do around $250,000 a day. With the contracts that we've already signed, we should hit around $1 million a day within the next 2 months. We are right now having bank sponsors, Europe, Nigeria, Vietnam, and Malaysia. Oh, okay. All IPR is owned or developed by us. So the last 30 seconds I will spend on simply telling you what are we going to achieve this year. We expect to grow to around 3 million registered users by the end of 2016. We expect to grow sort of the daily transaction volume to around 1.5 million. We have signed and launched a project in the Middle East by the end of this year. And we hopefully will close our B round, what every sort of startup always wishing for. So that's really Bancore. Thank you for listening.